Welcome to Creative Tien channel. Today I'm going to use my LK150 knitting machine and do a plating technique. And I also try to do the plating in tuck stitch. The plating technique creates an interesting texture. So let's get started. First, you will need two different color yarns, and usually there's a background color and a more colorful yarns for plating, but there's no rules about what yarns to use. Because we'll have two yarns knitted at the same time, so we should pick a little bit thinner yarns. Here I have the fingering weight yarn, both of them. And I thread the background yarn or the main yarn on the left side, like that. And the plating yarn on the right side. For the plating, you can use any number of yarn. It doesn't matter. But for the plating in tuck stitch, you have to decide which stitch you want to be tuck, so it will not knit for a few rows. I picked 30 stitches here. I picked the 5th stitch for the tuck stitch, so I have 1 stitch extra, so I'll take this one out. So totally I have 29 stitches, and I have 4 stitches left on each side. First we'll start with simple plating, and we'll just knit a few rows with main yarn first. And I like to do the simple E-rub. It doesn't matter which cast on you use. You can use waste yarn and ravel cord. I'll hang the weight and knit a few rows. And by the way, I'm using tension 9, the highest tension. You can use a thicker yarn for the main part and a thinner yarn for the plate yarn. So we are going to start the plating now. So I grab the plating yarn and place on the right side of the main yarn. There's a little slot on the right. That's behind the main yarn. And I will place some weight below and we'll start knitting. For the setting, I use the regular stockinette stitch setting. So we'll knit just as we are knitting the stockinette stitches. So we'll just keep knitting back and forth. So that's plating, and when you are done, you can take off the plating yarn and just knit with the background color yarn. So I will cut off the plating yarn and knit a few rows. I will clip the yarn end so it doesn't get in the way. And I'll knit a few rows. So that's called plating. And we'll look at the front side. The front side looks mostly white. It's just the background color. But the back side has mostly the plating yarn color. So if you want to make two different color in the front and the back, you can use this technique. And you also make a thicker fabric. Now we'll do the plating in tuck stitch. For the tuck stitch, we can pick out the stitches we want to tuck. As we planned earlier, we want every 5th stitch. Or you can come up with any patterns you like. We pull those stitches out to the D position, all the way to the D, and we will change our setting so those stitches will not knit. And here we want to change the Russell lever to number 1, from number 2 to number 1 on both sides. Now we are ready to knit. And remember to place the plaiting yarn back to the position, to the carriage. And you can hold the yarn end with your hand or add a clip to weight it down. And you can decide how many rows you want to do the tuck stitch. I will do 3 rows. You will see those tuck stitches don't knit, it just creates a loop. So I tuck 3 rows. Now I'm going to start knitting back those stitches. So we change the setting back to number 2 of the Russell lever. The same on the left side. Now we are back to regular stockinette stitch knitting. So I'll knit 1 row. And you can see it creates some pattern. And you can decide if you want to change to only white. You can take off the plaiting stitch yarn and just knit a few rows of the white yarn, or you can continue knitting. For now, I'm just going to continue knitting another 3 rows in the same setting with a stockinette stitch. I already have 1 row, so I will knit 2 more rows. So I'm going to do 3 rows of tuck and 3 rows of plain. Now I'm going to do tuck stitch again. I pick out those stitches. And change my setting back to Russell level 1. And knit 3 rows. And then change the setting again, back to stockinette stitch, and knit 3 rows. That's what it looks like. I will continue knitting for a little bit longer so you can see the bigger picture. Now I want to alternate with the white yarn only, so I start my tuck stitch, knit 3 rows, and I'm going to change back the setting to the plain stockinette stitch and knit 1 row. And now I'm going to take off the plaiting yarn and leave only the background color yarn. I'm just going to cut it off and knit 3 rows of the white yarn. And now I'm going back to my plaiting. After 3 rows, I will thread the plaiting yarn back and pick out the stitches for the tuck. That's the tuck stitch with plaiting. You can see it has interesting patterns. So I alternate with the white part and a combination of the 2 colors. And this part is with both colors on and 3 rows of plain and 3 rows of the tuck. And the first part is just the plaiting, very simple plaiting. And you can see the front side. It looks almost just like a white color. but the back side is blue. And here is a tuck stitch and the front side of the tuck stitch. So most of the patterns are actually in the back side. So that's the 3 different platings. The simple plating, plating with 2 color, and alternating the 2 color and 1 color. So that's the plating technique. Thank you so much for watching, and happy knitting.